It's time for that Covrprice Top 10 2 years later. All right, guys, we're going to get into this list, but first, you know what to do. The subscribe, the thumbs up, the comments, all that, all the social media at VERYGARY_comics, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, Whatnot. Guys, every Friday for the month of April, I will be on Whatnot with a different theme, a different auction. We're going to close out the month with 50 mystery boxes. 50. Each box is going to contain 2 slabs as well as 10 variants from Bird City Comics. Check them out. A lot of links down in the description below for money off and discounts and everything. But this is the Covrprice Top 10 from 2 years ago, and there's a discount code down in the description for them as well. This list comes to us from our friends over at Covrprice. We're going to go back 2 years, look at the value of these books, and see where they are now. Were they a bust? Were they a boost? And what better number to start with than number 10? This is Justice League number 50. Now, this issue has a lot going for it. Number 1, it features Grail in all her awesomeness. Her first appearance is in issue 40 and the Divergence Free Comic Book Day. But number 2, it features the first full appearance of Jessica Cruz as Green Lantern. Number 3, the first appearance of Jason, Wonder Woman's brother. And number 4, the reveal of 3 Jokers in the DC Comicverse, with DC Batman's 3 Joker series releasing in August of 2020. The latter was the main driver of landing this book on the top 10 2 years ago. The highly anticipated series sent fans rushing back to the first mention, hitting a high sale of $50 and then for a 9.8 and $15 for a raw copy. 2 years later, the 3 Joker series was a success for DC, but failed in moving the needle for any aftermarket sales after underwhelming revelations in the series. Today, raw sales are mostly break even around $18, but 9.8s have jumped up to $105. With that said, this book has some notable key appearances and is a great buy at $18. Guys, this entire list, there's quite a few DC books, and you know I love myself some Batman. This is a great book. I've always liked Justice League 40 as well because it is the first appearance of Grail. It's a great cover. My favorite artist is in this run, Justice League. This is the Jason Fabok, Jeff Johns run. Great read. Forget the keys, forget the money, forget all of that. It's actually a phenomenal story. Great read. Let's go down to number 9. We saw this a couple weeks ago. This is Spawn number 1. It's Spawn. People love them some Spawn. 2 years ago, this book was organically rising in value. Sure, there were rumors of various forms of content that Todd McFarlane championed, but those rumors never bore fruit. Now, 2 years ago, this was trending at $20 raw and a high of $110 for 9.8. 2 years later, raws are up $35 and 9.8s are at $210. This is a book that will continue its slow and steady growth. A boost here, guys. Spawn number 1. There's 1 million copies out there, and 1,000,001 people want them. They're awesome. It's a great cover. 9.8s aren't difficult to find. There's a ton of 9.8s signed, ton of 9.8s raw, but it's climbing naturally. This is just a fan favorite book that people want in their PC, which is slowly forcing the climb. That was just from 2 years ago. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of Spawn titles right now that force this up. So, awesome book. Let's go to number 8. This is Batman number 90. This is the Mattina variant. This issue features the first appearance of the designer. 2 years ago, this variant for issue number 90 featuring the Riddler by Mattina was trending at $22.50 for a raw copy, $60 for 9.8. Today, we now know that the designer was simply a corpse being dressed up in a costume and used by a puppet by the Joker who had obtained the designer's gas used to reanimate the dead. This short-lived character was the perfect example of FOMO, turning stale in just a couple of months. Though while this first was a bust, this variant saw some recent attention with the Riddler's appearance in Matt Reeves' The Batman, trending at a raw fair market value of $16 and $55 for 9.8. While this was a bust, we're only talking about a loss of $5. Not a huge deal, and you only lost if you bought it at the peak. If you bought it off the rack, which that's usually how Batman buyers buy, right? It's on their pull list. Then it's not that big of a deal. You're actually still ahead. Let's go to number 7. This is Marvel Fanfare number 11. It was 2 years ago this week when we received a new Black Widow trailer. At the time, COVID shutdown just started and the world still had hopeful promises of life returning quickly. Little did we know that this film would end up greatly delayed. Still in the trailer, we witnessed a blink, if you missed it, appearance of Iron Maiden's mask. Comic accurate, too. She was rumored to be in the film 3 years ago, which many thought was finally confirmed in this trailer. This sent Raws to a fair market value of $15 with a high sale of $135 for CGC 98. 2 years later, we now know that while actress Rachel Weisz did play Melina Vostokov, I messed that up a little, the real identity of Iron Maiden, she did not appear as her costumed Marvel identity in the film. This ultimately hurt Iron Maiden's first appearance in this issue. Today, Raws sell for $10 and 9/8 dropped down to $76. While it dropped from $135 to $76 is not great, this book actually hit a high of $645 for 9.8 in June of 2020, when the market prices truly went insane. If you look at that drop, a height of $645 to $76 is just brutal. This is a bust. I hope whoever was watching is not the person that spent that top dollar on that book. Yikes. Let's go to number 6. This is Uncanny XMen 166. This is the direct edition. Very important. 2 years ago, Lockheed, Kitty Pryde's dragon, was rumored to appear in the delay-ridden New Mutants film. This caused his first appearance in X-Men 166 to trend at $9 raw with a high sale of $110 for CGC 9.8. 2 years later, the movie did finally come out, and yes, Lockheed was in it. With Sword now existing in the MCU via Spider-Man Far From Home and WandaVision, recent talks of Abigail Brand appearing have spurred speculation of Lockheed's possibly appearing as well, since he's an alien dragon who was once a member of Sword. Regardless, his first appearance now sells for a fair market value of $20 with 9/8 at $250. This is a boost. This is a rumor. This is what happens with the MCU, guys. We all know that. Not a terrible investment, though. I mean, Sword. We know Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is coming right around the corner. We know they're going to touch and grab things from the Fox universe, maybe some Sony stuff. New Mutants was a Fox property. Obviously, it's all under Disney now. So why not? Right? Why not grab him? Why not bring him to the MCU, maybe via Doctor Strange? I don't know. We'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of cameos in Doctor Strange, but we'll see. Let's go to number 5. How about a repeat here? This is Uncanny X-Men 166, the newsstand edition. Yeah, 1 year ago, the Lockheed rumor was so strong that even the newsstand editions made the list with a high sale of $39.99 for a near mint raw. 2 years later, newsstands have dropped in value to a fair market value of $10 with no 9.8 sales. This is a bust. Maybe you should make that first 9.8 sale newsstand. We know the newsstands usually get a premium, so you never know. You never know. Let's go to number 4. I do love this book, and I've never even owned it. I was so jealous of everyone with this one. This is Wolverine #1 from C2E2, the Christopher variant. Now, John Tyler Christopher's fluorescent covers were just getting popular 2 years ago, also known as the negative variants. Interest in these covers skyrocketed with this exclusive Wolverine cover from C2E2. Limited and numbered to 3,000 copies, it sold out incredibly fast and immediately began trending at $150 raw and $400 for 9/8. 2 years later, these negative variants by Christopher are still very popular and now sell out almost immediately with each new cover. Today, this Wolverine negative is trending at $235 for a raw copy. 9/8 are still holding around $400. However, it did hit a high sale of $1,500 for a 9/8 in June of 2021. Granted, it was that elusive #1 of 3,000. This is a boost, although slight on the slab side, significantly more on the raw side. That #1, first of print, because these things were individually numbered, always gets a premium, and it was a 9.8. That's why that number hit so high, $1,500. These negative variants are awesome. I love them. I had the Spider-Man ones from New York Comic Con. They're really, really, really cool and highly sought after. This one kind of was, I believe this was the big one that really started the move. They're beautiful books. Beautiful books. Let's go to number 2. We're getting close. This is Batman. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go to number 3. This is Batman number 89. Punchline's first cameo appearance in this issue was incredibly popular 2 years ago. Heck, it was popular for almost a year, trending at $35 raw, high sale of $132.50 for a CGC 9/8. Punchline was the character to invest in at the time. 2 years later, you would think that this book would be dead, yet the biggest FOMO book of 2020 was one of the last new characters to appear prior to COVID shutting down all new comic releases. This helped cement her amongst fans who continue to buy into all her key appearances and still retain significant value today, trending at $55 raw, $102 in a 9.8. This is one of those rare occurrences where the raw value is a boost, the graded is a slight bust, and don't worry, we're not done with Punchline yet. Not on this list, guys. This is a cool book. The prices of these always fluctuated a little. I remember, like, is this a bust? Is this some FOMO stuff? But she seems to be holding steady right now. She seems to be holding steady. I don't know. She's a cool character. We'll see in the long run. It's no Harley Quinn, let's be honest. But let's go to number 2 now. This is Batman number 90. The designer's first full appearance helped both the variant and the standard issue make the top 10 2 years ago. Back then, high-grade raws hit a high of $29 raw and 9/8, $125. Now, 2 years later, this book fell hard to its current fair market value at $9 raw, $41 in a 9.8. Guys, it's not even worth getting this book graded if you think it's a 9.8. Just go buy it in a 9.8. It'll cost you more to get it graded. This was a DC heavy list. We still have one more book to talk about, and it seems like it's been mostly pretty positive. Now, with that being said, we're going down to number 1. Before we do, I want to remind everybody, check out covrprice.com. There is a discount code in the description below if you want to give it a whirl. I use it. I really enjoy it. I love the fact that there are when you look up a book, there's pictures, and you have all types of charts, all types of sales data. It's coming from multiple sources. It's a really good tool to use. Now with that, let's get down to number 1. This is Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen, number 3. Joker's new henchwoman Punchline dominated Cover Price Top 10 for months in 2020 with a more substantial first appearance in this issue. 2 years ago, this was the one book holding its value more than any other. At the time, this was a big debate over which book should be considered the first true appearance of Punchline. Though trending at $56 raw, $170 and a 9.8, this was outselling Batman 89. 2 years later, raw values have increased $60 to $67, the 9.8s trending at $188. This is a boost. However, 9.8s did sell at a high sale of May of 2021 for $450. Now, that's a rather steep drop from her all-time high, yet compared to 2 years ago, Punchline has proved to be a FOMO book that has held her ground. Holding on, man. These Punchline books are holding on. And remember, we do talk about this. The market dictates which is the bigger key to own. The Hulk 180 versus 181 debate. The market has said the 181 is the one to own. That goes for this too. Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen, number 3 is the book to own. Now let's run some numbers here. The top 10 2020 results proved to be pretty balanced in today's analysis. It featured a blend of bust and boost with a few heavy hitters at the same time. Few huge drops as well. If you would have purchased these books in 2020 at market price, they would have cost you $392 raw, $1,292 and a 9.8. Now, 2 years later, those same books would now be worth $475 raw, $1,431 and a 9.8. You would have gained $83 raw, $139 graded. So if you skipped this list in 2020, you didn't miss much. However, hopefully many of you have bought these at cover price or less, making your gains a little sweeter, guys. Make sure to check out coverprice.com, see what's on their current top 10 and the various trending movers and shakers list. Come back next time. We're going back 1 year later. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep it comics.